If you wish to believe my going home is a direct result of being held captive by the Borg, be my guest.
Is that what you believe?
I hate it when you do that.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Fully Functional, a TNG podcast. I'm Maggie, joined by Jeff and Dory.
Yo.
Jeff and I are huge Star Trek nerds, Dory's a Star Trek novice, and we are taking her on our first journey through Star Trek The Next Generation. Today we'll be discussing the second episode of Season 4, titled Family. Original air date is September 29th, 1990, and we'll take it to Dory for the recap.
Okay, I loved this episode.
This was the lowest rated episode in the season.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, then this season must have been really good then.
Ooh.
It's probably because it was such like a bummer and like such a character episode after like all this action stuff.
Oh, I just love Worf.
Yeah.
I just, like, honestly, the whole Worf stuff could have been the episode. The Picard stuff, it's fine. But literally, Worf and his parents, I love Worf's mom.
Yeah.
Yes. His dad is great too, but like Worf's mom, A+. Okay.
I figured you'd be excited by that, yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay, so the Enterprise is docked at McKinley Station for repairs because it is looking real rough these days. Riker mentions that he's looking forward to meeting Worf's parents, which is news to Worf because apparently they're on the visitors list, and Worf is like, it's inappropriate for a Klingon to receive family while on duty, and Riker's like, well, it's a good thing we're not a Klingon ship then.
Yeah.
And Worf's like, and then we know that, so Worf then says like he did tell his parents about being basically excommunicated. And so it's not like, oh, I'm dreading to see them because I have to tell them this stuff. Like, they know. Mm-hmm. So then cut to Picard in the mirror, which, okay, that first shot where it's Picard in the mirror and you see Troy in the reflection, she looked like a poster because of how still she was standing. And just, it looked like a reflection of a poster in the mirror. Mm-hmm. Okay, so then Picard is going to La Barre, France, his home village, which I actually did Google. It's a real place. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm just realizing the dog is barking, so I don't know if you guys can hear it, but just in case, there's a dog barking in my house. He's a good dog, but I don't know what he's barking at, but just in case we can hear him. So, okay, La Barre, it's basically, I looked it up, it's a commune in France. It is east of Dijon, north of Lyon, and it's currently 16 degrees Celsius. So they're having a good March. So Picard's going to go visit his home. It's his first time being there in almost 20 years. And Troy says that she finds it interesting. And then Picard's like, look, I'm better, and does like a weird thing that shows he's obviously not better.
Yeah. Although I don't know, like, Troy's whole thing to me is weird because it's like, it's really not that weird of a choice after what's happened to go back home.
I think it's maybe the reason she finds it interesting is because he hasn't been there for so long that this is the occasion he picks to like go home. I don't know if she knows that his tension with his brother, but my God, is his brother an asshole. Mm-hmm. I hate Picard's brother, and man, do I have to eat crow because last episode of my predictions I was like, it doesn't feel like Picard would have siblings. Yeah, apparently he's got a brother, but his brother is a piece of shit. Anyways, so he leaves. He does like this weird like sad look around his room before he leaves, and then Worf goes to the transporter room, which O'Brien is there, and like, honestly, O'Brien, like, the fuck. So like Worf's like, they still haven't signaled, and O'Brien goes, no sir, and then Worf goes, my mother is never on time, it is so human of her. And then O'Brien goes, well, you know, women.
Yeah.
Thanks, O'Brien. Way to suck. Fucking rude. And then O'Brien tells a story about how gross his dad is.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. Wow, thanks for that also, I guess. Okay, and then Worf's parents arrive and his face lights up, and it's so cute.
Mm-hmm.
It's so adorable. And so we meet his parents, Sergei and Helena Roshenko.
Roshenko.
I don't know if Roshenko?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They are Russian,
Mm-hmm.
which was like surprising. Just, I don't know why, but I kind of just assumed for a show like this, like everybody would somehow be American, even though Picard's from France.
They're actually Belarusian.
Oh, are they Belarusian?
Yeah, they're. They actually mention in the
Oh.
episode that they've just contacted Belarus transporter facility.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. I missed that. Well, awesome. Good for them. That's so nice. Like, it's very random, but I'm like, that's cute. I love it.
Well, Star Trek they make a point to try to make people from not America, even though it still ends up being pretty America-centric.
Yeah. So, Sergei. Oh, yeah. So, apparently he used to work for Starfleet at one point. He was part of the USS Intrepid. And O'Brien introduces himself and calls Sergei Sir. And then he goes, "Don't call me Sir. I used to work for a living." Okay. And oh my gosh, they are so proud of Worf. It's so fucking cute.
Mm-hmm.
And then he like, Helena is like such a mom. She's like, "Your hair's getting longer."
Yeah.
So then, okay, we cut to Picard walking down a really beautiful road. And he hears something in the bushes and gasp, it's his worst nightmare. A child.
Yeah.
A French child with an English accent. So I wrote in my notes, must be related to Picard. So the kid's name is Renee. As it turns out, it's his uncle nephew.
Yeah.
And Picard's brother's name is Robert. And this back and forth between them does not make sense. So maybe we should dissect this at some point. Renee goes, you don't seem so arrow, And then Picard goes, arrogant. And then Renee goes, yes, arrogant. You don't seem that way to me. What does it mean? Anyway, arrogant, son of a... And then Picard goes, let's talk about it later, shall we? He doesn't know the word. Then he hears the word. And then he's like, what does it mean? But he says Picard is not that. So I don't know, Renee, get your story straight because that's confusing.
The whole implication is that he's heard his dad call Picard that, and he doesn't know what it means.
But he says that it doesn't. You don't seem that way to me. So how do you?
Yeah, how would he know what it seems
That
like?
doesn't make
Oh.
sense. Yeah, because
Oh, I
he's like,
never
you don't
put that
seem that way to
together.
me.
Yeah.
What does it mean anyway? And I'm like, what? That Renee?
Well, he knows it. Okay.
How did you win a ribbon at school for writing?
Okay, you know what? This is generous, but maybe he knows it's bad, and that's all the context he knows. But he's like, "Oh, you don't seem bad to me."
I don't know. It's just confusing. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Renee, stay in school. So then we meet Marie.
Say no to
who
drugs.
is Picard's sister-in-law, who seems way too good to be anywhere near Robert.
Yeah.
Marie seems lovely. And
Robert.
damn, Robert, fuck it. I don't care. My accent, I can't pronounce. You don't want me to do any kind of... It's better off for everybody. I can't... yeah, I'm calling him Robert. Sorry. Fine, Robert. Fine.
There you are.
God.
Don't be racist against the French.
Yeah, that's definitely the concern. Also, Picard's house is fucking nice.
Mm-hmm.
That is a sweet ass house. And as it turns out, I guess they have their own vineyard.
Yep.
Because, like, the wide shot, there's, like, the field. So, okay.
Yeah, it's Chateau Du Picard.
Is it really? That's what it's called?
Yes.
Yeah.
There is a real
Wow.
Chateau Picard in California, actually, and they make licensed Star Trek wine.
Oh, that's so cute.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then first day we see Robert. He's pulling like grapes out of a vine and putting it in his mouth, and then he's like, "The vine's sick." Like, cool, bro. You just put the sick vine grapes in your mouth.
Yeah.
Like that can't be great, but choices. So now back on the ship, Troy is chatting with Dr. C, and she's like, Riker and I are gonna go. We're talking about maybe going to Angel Falls and then in Venezuela. And then Dr. C gets like Jack Crusher's stuff delivered to her room, I guess. She's like, it was in storage. It's like, Jack Crusher died like 18 years ago. Only now you're getting his shit? Like, okay.
Well, no, she said
whatever.
she put it like in storage, you know, a while ago, like after he died. And I guess now that they're back at Earth, she decided to like go get it and take another look at it, I guess.
Though on that note, she was she was like a director at Starfleet Medical during season 2. She could have got it then.
Yeah. So then like they're going through his stuff, and then there's a book called How to Advance Your Career Through Marriage. And she's like, yeah, it was a joke with like me and Jack. He gave it to me as like a way to propose, which I think is pretty funny.
Yeah, I thought that was cute, honestly.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, because she was in medical school and he was already in Starfleet. Yeah, that was pretty cute. So Dr. C then finds like a hologram of Jack for Wes, and she's like, I don't know if I should give it to him, if this should like would like maybe like
mess him up or something.
Oh, yeah. I'm on the team of yes, give it to him, because like it's not like he's got a ton of his dad, so like anything you can sort of salvage that he can have some kind of like something of his dad, because do it.
And the thing is like it might set him back like temporarily, but I think ultimately overall it'll do more good.
Yeah. So okay, now elsewhere on the ship, we got Worf's parents telling Geordi all these like stories about Worf growing up. It's adorable and so like parenty. And Sergei wants Geordi to like show him I don't know stuff, and then Helena's like, hey, can you show me the Arboretum? And I thought at this point like Sergei was gonna ask like Geordi about something specific, but like we don't see it. It just like then jumps to something else. Okay, so back in France, the mayor wants to like give Picard a parade and like the key to the city, which like when I looked this up, this town as of right now has 98 people of their population. So like what?
Well, who knows how big it is by like, you know, the 23rd century.
That'd be like 6 people.
Yeah.
Like 6 people. Because instead in 2015, it was like 108 or something. And now it's, or 103, and now it's down to 98. So it seems like the town is only getting smaller. So yeah, by the time Picard goes back, there's like 6 people in this village.
It's all 5G towers now.
Yeah, basically. So, okay, yeah, so they have like a dinner. There's like tension. Robert sucks, and he's like, him and Marie discussed a replicator, but like that would require
basically Robert is like old school. He doesn't like the new technology and shit. He still likes to cook real food and drink real things. But
he likes for Marie to cook real food.
Yeah, true.
So he's like, my argument is he wants like it's the stuff that like that he doesn't have to deal with, when he's like, I think it should be the traditional way, and it's like, thanks, Robert, like you suck.
Yeah.
You damn kids and your music.
Yeah. And then so Picard says to him, I don't see that you have to lose anything by adding a convenience. And then Robert goes, well, you wouldn't, but in my view, life is already too convenient. Like, fuck you, Robert.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of level of privilege you have there? Like, life is already too convenient. Like, what the fuck? I hate this guy.
Yeah.
I wrote Robert as an asshole like maybe 4 times in my 5 pages of notes. I hate him. So, so then we meet Louis, or Louis, depending on who's talking about him, apparently. Who's like a friend of Picard's, and he's
Let's just settle on the middle. Louise.
Yeah.
Louise. Okay. So, Louise is one of 200 supervisors of this like Atlantis project. I can't explain.
Well, basically what they want to do is they want to raise up the ocean floor to create a new island in the middle of the Atlantic.
Yeah, no thanks. Hard pass.
Honestly, that's probably a really fucking bad idea, because that would probably mess with the ocean currents and shit, and that's like pretty vital to our climate.
Yeah, we already have enough issues. Let's leave the ocean floor alone. Plus, who knows? We haven't even we haven't explored like majority of the ocean, so who knows what the fuck? There already could be an Atlantis down there for all we know. So Atlantis 2, Electric Boogaloo. So then Louise is like, we're looking for like a leader. We need some people, and like science shit from the Enterprise. But you, of course, would never leave Starfleet. And Picard's like, yeah, I would never leave Starfleet. And then Worf tells, Worf. Oh, they're at 10 forward, and Worf is basically like, Mom, Dad, you're like fucking embarrassing me. You're like telling everybody all my personal shit. And they're like, oh, sorry, Worf. And then like, so then Worf gets called away by
Dad,
Riker.
Come on.
Yeah.
And so Guinan then meets, I wrote the Worfs. Meets Sergei and Helena, and it's so cute. She's like, oh, quick question for you guys. How come you never gave him prune juice? And they're like, I'm sorry, what? And she's like, yeah, he like said he had prune juice for the first time on the ship, and he like loves it. He's obsessed with it. And they're like, oh, well, he didn't really want human food. We had to like make him like Klingon food at home. And it was like, oh, okay.
Dory, that's continuity. Prune juice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's so sweet, too, because they were like, because they didn't want to, they wanted him to,
still be able to like have his heritage, and they're like, oh yeah, well, we wanted him to discover it. We didn't want to like, on his own, so he could like figure stuff out, and we weren't pushing like, human shit on him, or just it's up for him to make his decision of what he wants to do. And which is really, really nice. And then Guinan, Helena says, like, oh, I'm afraid Worf feels that we do not understand him. And then Guinan goes, well, part of him may feel that way, but there's another part that I've seen, the part that comes in and drinks prune juice, the part that looks out the window towards home. But he's not looking towards the Klingon Empire. He's looking towards you. And I was like, excuse me, I need to go cry for a moment because that's so fucking cute. So, oh yeah, we learned that, like, Picard has actually been, like, talking with Marie, and that was really nice. Like, so he feels part of the family. And then I don't know why I found this so funny, but like there's a knock at the door. Robert opens it. It's Louise, and Marie goes, Louise, come in. Let me get you some wine. You can talk business. That might be like a totally normal thing in France to like drink wine while like conducting business, but just like from here, we're like drinking on the job is a no-no.
Yeah.
It just sounds so funny. Hey, come in. Make yourself at home. Let me get you some alcohol. And you can discuss business.
I think it probably is like a normal thing in France just to have like a casual glass of wine while talking about stuff. Like professionally. Yeah.
So then like, Louise and Picard talk business shit. Like the board, whatever, wants him. But he's like, I don't know. Okay, so now we have Worf, who's playing with his hair in the mirror on top of this wild-looking chair.
Yeah, I fucking forgot. I laughed so hard because when they cut to the wide shot and he gets off, I'm like, that sculpture's a chair? Because I think we've seen that sculpture before, but I'm like, that's like, a fucking
so
chair.
High up. Yeah. So it's his parents. They come in, and he's like, I thought you guys, like, were going to your quarters. And Helena goes, we just wanted to come by to tuck you in. And then Worf, like, says to them, listen, like, when I saw your names on the visitor list, I was not happy about it. But, like, now I'm real happy to see you guys.
It is really nice to know that, like, Worf's entire agony around seeing his parents is pretty much entirely internal. Because, like, I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of jealous. I want those parents.
Yeah.
I love them. They're so cute. So then, like, they talk about, they're like, listen, we know how, like, hard this all was. Like, we wanted to come because of your, like, excommunication, basically, and we knew that you would be having a hard time. And then Worf goes, I must bear my dishonor alone. And then Sergei goes, that is not true. And Helena goes, I'm sorry that this is too human of us, but whatever you are suffering, you must remember that we are with you. And then Sergei goes, and that we're proud of you, and that we love you. And then Helena goes, you are our son. And then they hold hands, all three of them, and I was like, this is the cutest thing in the world, and I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Oh, it's adorable.
Oh my god. Oh, and then cut back to Picard and Robert. And like Picard's drinking, and Robert's like, FYI, this shit will get you wasted. And then Robert is like, by the way, what did the Borg actually do to you? And it's out of curiosity, not brotherly concern. And I wrote again, Robert is such an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, they're like walking outside the house, and apparently, Picard was like president of the school and valedictorian and quote unquote athletic hero with arms raised in victory.
Mm-hmm.
Robert was like very, very jelly, and he admits that, yeah, he like kind of enjoyed bullying Picard sometimes. Like, what the fuck, Robert?
Yeah.
Like, he's such an asshole. And then, he also says that Picard, like, needed some humiliation or humility, which is, like, a pretty dick move.
Yeah. Considering what he went through.
Yeah, and then Robert's like, Picard, you probably came back so I could take care of you. And for whatever reason, that's what triggers Picard to fucking punch his brother in the face. And then they start, like,
well, Picard
rolling
basically
around.
is like, oh, you want to go? And then Robert says some shit, and he's like, punches him.
Yeah, so then they're fighting in, like, mud, and I just wrote, 2 old dudes fighting in the mud. Stop. One of you are gonna have a heart attack. And then, like, I don't know, they're, like, covered in mud, and they both start, like, ending up laughing, and I'm like, okay. And then Robert tells Picard he's been too hard on himself,
Mm-hmm.
and Picard, I cried. I actually started to cry when Picard said this. So Picard, in his laughter, he goes, you don't know, Robert. You don't know. They took everything I was. They used me to kill and destroy, and I couldn't stop them. I should have been able to stop them. I tried. I tried so hard, but I wasn't strong enough. I wasn't good enough. I should have been able to stop them. I should. And then Robert, the piece of shit that he is, goes, so, my brother is human being after all. Like, go fuck yourself, Robert. That was, like, not the thing to say. And then the next bit, I guess, is a little bit more, like, helpful. But that line was just, like, fucking stupid. So Robert goes, this is going to be with you a long time, Jean-Luc. A long time. You have to learn to live with it. You have a simple choice here. You have a simple choice now. Live with it below the sea with Louise, or above the clouds with the Enterprise. And then Picard goes, I think you were right after all. I think I did have to come back so that you could help me. And then Robert goes, do you know what? I still don't like you, Jean-Luc. Like, what the fuck? And then they, like, hug or whatever.
Yeah, I think the implication...
Oh, no, that's later. Oh, whatever.
Yeah, I think the implication is that...
It's like, I love you, but I don't like you.
Yeah, but that Robert was kind of, like, trying to get on Picard's nerves on purpose to see if he could, like, coax what's really bugging him out of him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's what they're trying to imply, to, like, he was trying to push his buttons on purpose.
But I don't like it.
It's
so
a
mean.
dick move. It's a dick move for
Yeah.
sure. But it's not, like, he's not just trying to be an asshole, I don't think.
Yeah. So then, like, they're really muddy, and they go back into the house. They're absolutely wasted. They're singing in French. Marie comes in. She's like, what happened? And they're like, I fell. We both fell down.
Yeah.
Like, okay, thanks, guys. It's like the Who's on First skit,
Yeah.
but worse. And so Picard's like, yeah, I'm going to cancel my meeting with Louise. I'm going back to the Enterprise. Then Wes, back on the ship, Wes goes to the holodeck. And he's like, Program Crusher 1, and he wants to see his dad. Oh, yeah, Beverly gave him the hologram thing. So then we open it, and we get to see Jack Crusher for the first time. And when he first started talking, I was like, this doesn't seem like the Jack vibe because of everything I've heard about him. He seems like he was pretty lulz. Mm-hmm. And this guy doesn't seem super lulz. But then the closer we get to his face, I was like, sorry, but Jack Crusher was hot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, thank you, I guess, for that, whoever. Mm-hmm. And then, like, Wes says, like, goodbye, Dad. It's like, sad,
Yeah.
but at least Wes now gets to know how hot his dad was.
Yeah.
So it's peace of mind there.
Yeah, it's so sad because he reaches out for the hologram, but that at the exact same time it, like, disappears.
Yeah, well, at least he can run it
Yeah.
over and over again and see his dad more.
Yeah.
So that
and
was
see
nice.
how hot he is.
Yeah, exactly. And then we can maybe be there also. We'll bring Dr. C in, and she just looks at him and goes, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so then Picard is like all geared up to leave to go back to the Enterprise. Him and Robert say goodbye. Robert always looks fucking grumpy. Like, this man is just permanent grump face. And then Robert gives Picard the 47 wine and to drink it with other people. And they hug, and then like Picard's on his way. And then Helena's like, hey, Worf, before we go, is there like anything you want us to send to you? And Worf's like, no. But then actually, can you send me a Rokeg blood pie?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I'll remember how to make it again.
Well, he wants his mom's Rokeg blood pie specifically.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's so
God.
cute.
Yeah.
And then Picard comes up and he meets Worf's parents just in time, and I love it, and it's so cute because his dad is like obsessed with the Enterprise, and he's like, I know all the specs and shit. I'm like, that's so cute. And then so they're back on the Enterprise, they're gonna go, and then we go to Marie and Robert talking about, like, I guess Renee is like outside, and then we see Renee is sitting outside under a tree stargazing, but this little dumb bitch is facing in the other direction, and he fucking misses a shooting star. Like, they have him there, and they literally have the action happening behind him. It's just like, you guys, so close. Yeah, I loved
but it looks better visually.
Sure, yeah. But then Renee looks like a fucking moron.
Yeah.
Anyways, I truly did not care that much for the Picard stuff.
No.
I lived for Worf and his parents.
Yeah.
I love his parents. They are so adorable. I love how supportive and adorable they are. And they're like, Worf, we love you. And I like that Worf, like, softens with them a bit, and he's, like, honest with them. Ugh.
Yeah.
Give me that good shit. Love it so much.
I love I really like all the threads in this episode, honestly. And I especially appreciate that this episode is like an episode like dealing with the events of the series. Like we're dealing with Picard's trauma from the Borg, and we're dealing with the effects of Worf's discommodation, you know? And we're like,
Yeah.
we're dealing more with, like, you know, the death of Wesley's father.
Consequences, my favorite. And
Yeah.
continuity. Yeah, I really like this episode. I think after, like, the heaviness that was the last couple episodes, this is like, I always joke that I want every show I watch to have a beach day. This is kind of like the beach day.
Yeah.
And I'll take it, because I don't think I'm ever going to get an actual beach day episode, but like,
We'll take the
this is
vineyard
nice
day.
that it's
There's
Yeah,
a beach day
yeah.
episode.
wait, did I know this? Did we talked about a beach day?
It's not in this series.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's actually very fucking terrible.
Yes, it is an
Oh, no.
awful episode. But
Okay, well then I'll take Vineyard Day.
I actually want to criticize something about this episode, because I feel like the Wesley stuff, they had a really good opportunity with that, and that scene, that, I mean, it's the only scene Wesley's actually in the episode, is a very powerful scene by itself, but it's robbed of a good portion of that power by having no build-up regarding Wesley himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been nice to have Wesley, like, then try to decide if he wants to watch it or not. Like,
Yeah.
the decision, it should have been just,
Yeah,
like,
that would be
Dr. C
interesting.
giving it to him, saying, like, this is what, I found this stuff, I think you should have it. Whether or not you watch it is up to you. And then it could have been him trying to decide whether or not this would be, like, the right thing to do to see his dad, or just... So then finally, when he watches it, then, like, it's more effective, because up until this point, like, we don't see, like, Wes isn't, like, he's got his trauma with his dad for sure, but, like, late, like, the last time we sort of heard about it was the kid who's had the ghost mom. Oh, so I was very wrong, there was no ghost mom this episode.
Oh, yeah.
jerk brother.
Yeah.
Jerk brother. No ghost mom. That's too bad. But yeah, it just would have been nice, like, because otherwise it was just like, felt like Dr. C made the decision, and then just because she made the decision, that meant like, well, Wesley has to, like, because she's giving it to him, he has to watch it.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
yeah,
good
it would have
point.
been nice to build up to it more, of like him making the decision, because up until this point, well, no, because like, yeah, from the episode with that kid who lost his mom, Wesley's always being forced to like confront his trauma without actually like choosing it. So this would have given him a bit more agency to decide, like, I finally have the choice to, like, you know, do I want to jump into this and see my dad and what he has to say, or do I suppress this more and, you know, check on it another day or something?
Yeah.
Because yeah, everybody's always forcing him to like do shit. This would have been nice if he could make the decision on his own. So then at the end, when he said goodbye, Dad, I don't know, not necessarily closure, because I don't think he's necessarily going to get closure from that, but it would have been more of like more effective in terms of an emotional beat.
He got no development regarding it whatsoever. It added to his character, and if they do something with that later, that's great, but otherwise it was a touching scene that doesn't have a beginning or an end consequence.
Yeah. It feels like there wasn't enough room for that in the episode, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, that's true.
If this was like a different era of TV, I feel like you could have done the setup in this episode of Beverly debating whether to give it to Wesley, and then actually dealing with her giving it to Wesley and what Wesley wants to do with it in another episode.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that working very well.
So I actually really, really liked Picard's breakdown.
Oh yeah, his laugh crying.
Yeah.
Or just laughing, losing it.
It's a little awkward. It feels a little cheesy just because, like, I can't tell
He just fought
Yeah.
with his grown-ass brother, and they're lying in a bunch of mud.
Well, I can't tell if Patrick Stewart's crying is bad or too good. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when someone cries too realistically, it just comes off like real bad on
Yes.
screen.
I mean, crying is ugly.
Yeah. At least, you know what? Patrick Stewart is not afraid to ugly cry.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'll give him that.
I think he was really good, because the way that his, like, he started off with like the laughing into the like the seriousness, like that got me. I was like really tearing up. I was like, oh my, just like listening to him talk about it.
Oh,
Just,
me too.
I mean, and it was so little, but it's the whole, like, they used him to kill and destroy, and
And he couldn't do
he
anything
couldn't
to
do
stop
anything.
it. Yeah.
He just had to, like, yeah, and just him saying, like, they wasn't good enough, he wasn't strong enough, and that's just, like, really heartbreaking.
I wish, like we know as the audience, like, dude, that was not your fault, but I wish someone had, like, I wish we'd seen on screen someone explicitly telling Picard, man, that is not your fault.
Yeah.
And it's like, and man, it is okay that, like, you were quote unquote not strong enough. Like, you're only a man, and that's fine. Yeah, but Robert is a fucking asshole.
Yep.
I hate him. Like, he is like Ira levels of I hate him.
Ooh, wow.
I think,
that's
you know what, though?
harsh.
You know what, though? I think I hate Robert more, because at least Ira was fun.
Yeah, true.
Ira was trash, but he was like Lol's trash. Robert was just such a piece of shit. And to me, no, like, he wasn't even fun. He just was like, yeah, I like to bully you when we were younger because I was jealous of you. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, who's like, what kind of person like behaves that way? And then as an adult, he's still a piece of shit. And he's fine with it. He doesn't apologize. He's just like, yeah, I bullied you and I was fine with it. I enjoyed it even sometimes. So it's like sometimes he bullied without enjoying it, and then sometimes he did. Like, cool pastime, guy. Like, what are you doing?
Also, it's kind of a like, I feel like it's a little redundant because the only reason to bully someone is because you enjoy it. Like,
Yes.
who bullies because they're like, I don't want to do this, but like,
Peer pressure to bully.
yeah.
Ooh.
I'm sorry,
Like,
I
I
don't
feel-
want to treat you like shit, but I have to. It's just,
Yeah.
it's very important. For the record, Gene Roddenberry really did not like this episode. Specifically because he believed that all of the stuff that happened between Picard and Robert, human beings were beyond. Which,
yeah,
to
that's
be
right.
fair, Gene Roddenberry's take on what the future in Star Trek is a little bit unrealistic for human beings, that we've basically just gotten over all conflict whatsoever.
Yeah.
He thinks
and
in the future no more bullying.
it tends to remove a bit of humanity from people, unfortunately, because people have flaws.
Yeah.
And he didn't really imagine people with very many flaws.
Yeah. You know, I admire that as a philosophy, that like that we can get to that place
Yeah, me too.
where, you know, we don't have like silly brother squabbles and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But like for a show, that's not very compelling.
Yes.
And like I don't think that that's realistic, as you said.
Yeah.
But yeah, I admire the philosophy. I just it's makes things boring.
It does. It really
Yeah.
does. Season 1 is a great example of that.
And then you have to, because here's the thing is like, because there's always like all these like all this literary stuff about if we integrate like technology into our lives and into our very beings, like where do we lose our humanity, right? Where is the point where we cease to be human?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you can use sort of the same thing with like with conflict. I feel like it's like, you know, if we're so like beyond all this stuff, are we still human? Are we something else at that point? Like, because I feel like these complex emotions and these complex situations and all that stuff is kind of like integral into the human experience.
That's a very good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Gene thinks we're going to get post-human.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he kind of does think that.
Yeah.
Well,
Which is
did.
like fine. If you're like, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's like, no, we're not necessarily like, we're not the humans we are now. We're something different, but like, that's not necessarily good nor bad.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know if you can call that human anymore.
I don't know. I think we'd be human after all.
Yeah. It's a great album.
I know. Sorry, I had to. It was there. It was calling for me, and I'm just like,
of course.
I'm gonna go for it. Sorry, Dory. It's a Daft Punk album.
A fucking wicked album. I think that's the album that Lucky's on. The song Lucky.
Get Lucky, because Lucky is the song by Britney Spears from her first album.
No, Get Lucky was on their
Oh, Get
recent
Lucky,
one.
sorry.
That
Yeah.
was
Isn't that
on...
Human After All?
No, it was Random Access Memories.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, Human After All is one of the earlier ones, I think. I think it's like their second.
Is it?
Oh, wait, I'm just realizing I think Lucky might not be on Britney's first album.
Oh, never mind. Human
God.
After All came out in 2005.
Yeah. Because Homework is their first album, right?
Yes. Human After All is their third one.
Okay.
So yeah, it was the one right before Random Access Memories. I say right
okay.
before, but it was like 8 years or some shit, so...
Yeah. Well, they
know.
took a long break, like, between...
Yup.
Yes, I was also wrong. Lucky is from Oops, I Did It Again. the second album. It's a great song.
Is it, though?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Even though it's not the album I thought it was, it's still a fucking banger album.
Yes.
Because, like, that has a robot rock on it, Technologic, like, Human After All, obviously, Prime Time of Your Life. Yeah. That album fucking rules.
Yep, agreed. Hit me one more time. No, honestly, it does slap. It's
Yeah.
sometimes the song is called Sometimes, very excellent. A++.
The Britney Spears
Crazy.
song, Lucky, is great. I love that song.
It's everything.
Yeah.
Lucky goes through so, like, struggle is real for Lucky.
And it's like knowing like her like actual situation, it hits different now.
Iconic.
Yeah.
Brittany is an icon. I will physically fight anyone who says otherwise.
By the way,
Physically fight.
on the album Human After All, Steam Machine is my favorite song. I fucking
Nice.
love that song.
Yeah, you would love Steam Machine.
Yeah. It's also the longest song. Oh no, sorry, Emotion's the longest song. Steam Machine's the second longest. Anyway,
Did anyone
Emotions?
notice that O'Brien got himself a first name in this episode?
Miles Edward O'Brien
That's
Yeah.
right. So technically, he got two
can
first
go
names.
fuck himself.
Oh wow, is this really where we established that his name is Miles Edward O'Brien?
That's right.
Oh, I did not know.
This is also the first reference to him not being an enlisted officer, despite the fact that he's got he's got lieutenant pips. But that's something that Star Trek doesn't do very well. And honestly, as somebody who does not care about the military, it's literally not important at all.
Yeah, they're kind of vague with it. They go back and forth with it.
Yeah, essentially the establishment that they lay out for it here, or the groundwork that they lay for it here, that the enlisted people are the ones who are, you know, the working men kinds of people, and the officers are the in charge sorts of people who are meant to think about things. That's something they go along with for the rest of O'Brien's career, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Oh yeah, I mean that's kind of essentially what it is. Like if you're enlisted, you're kind of like a grunt or whatever, in terms of like hierarchy and how the greater establishment like views it, and then officers are like, you know, more important and they're in charge and stuff, and that's why.
Ooh, yeah, they're the ones with real thoughts.
Yeah. So that's why Sergei's like, you know, oh, don't call me sir. Like I was a working man. You know, I'm not an officer, or I'm not a boss.
He was more than a hero. He was a union man.
So interesting, sort of like outside the show, like fan stuff. There's actually a fairly sizable group of people who headcanon Worf and his parents as Jewish.
Oh.
I mean, basically because they're Russian. Well, Belarusian technically, but they're like, it's very possible that they could be Jewish. So some people are like, he's ours.
I would actually like to point out, for background's sake, that that was brought up in the in the scripting process, and the producers had a little bit of concern towards Michael Piller that maybe the way that the parents behaved was like a little too much of a Jewish stereotype, and he was assuring them that while there were essences of that stereotype in there, A, it wasn't being done in a disrespectful way, and B, it wasn't specific enough that it would get pointed out as anything offensive. And he turned out to be pretty much correct on that regard.
Yeah. I mean,
there is like specific things like talking about like weight and the hair. That is very, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's like specific to just
No,
Judaism.
like you can make an argument either
but
way.
It is like, yeah.
They're written to be helicopter parents.
I don't think they're helicopter parents.
No, not helicopter parents, but like a little bit overbearing parents.
Yeah, they're kind of like those like embarrassingly enthusiastic parents.
Yes.
And it's like, Mom, you're embarrassing me.
Mom, come on.
Yeah, I think like I think you can definitely like interpret them either way, because those stereotypes are also like kind of like Eastern European in general also.
That's a very good point.
But some people are like, we're claiming Worf.
I mean, I'm not opposed. I love Worf. Worf is my favorite. Ugh, Worf. Now, question: are Worf's parents like generally regarded as like liked?
Yeah.
Like, was this a good like showing for his parents?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's really nothing negative about them that's mentioned as far as I know in the groupings that I follow.
Yeah. Unfortunately we don't get to see them too often, but yeah,
We may get to see them again.
Maybe.
I think I don't remember.
Can't talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, at the very least now I have like I met Worf's parents. I love them. And I now get to hold this with me that like Worf's parents were fucking great.
Yeah.
I couldn't have asked for a better like family dynamic, honestly.
Yeah. I hoped that it was going to be a pleasant surprise for you that
Yes.
that
It,
Worf
like it
family
makes
stuff.
up for the 100%. It makes up for the fact that there was no ghost mom. I didn't get a ghost mom, but I got Worf's parents, which is like honestly, like couldn't have asked for anything better.
Yeah.
Like that would have been if you guys were like, oh listen, like somebody from the crew's parents come to visit, like I would have been like, Worf, please.
Let it be Worf, yeah.
I think actually I would have said maybe Worf or Geordi because we
Yeah.
haven't met Geordi's family at all either. But because like Worf is my favorite, I want to meet Worf. And plus now this like kind of like brings stuff together in like a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to
Like
think
it also
of if there's anyone's families who get left out, and no, I don't think anyone's families get left out throughout TNG.
because I do know you had mentioned that we meet Dr. C's family at one point, but like obviously, but like so like what,
sort
her
of.
grandmother or something, or there's some
Oh,
kind of
yeah, we can't
story
go
with
into
like
that.
her grandmother,
We can't go
whatever.
into
But
that.
like,
Yeah.
so like but yeah, this like honestly just like I was just really happy to see that Worf's got some like really nice parents who were not like who were very in favor of him learning about his like, you know, heritage and culture, and we're not like, nope, you are on Earth till you will learn only Earth things. And that's it, which like I feel like a lot of parents would
Yeah.
probably do that, but it's really nice that they didn't.
Yeah. And this isn't evidence, but I'd like to think that if anyone knows the importance of like, you know, keeping in touch with your heritage, it would be like Jewish parents, you know?
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because so much shit has been destroyed, cities don't exist, etc. I mean, significant places don't exist anymore. Especially also like the history of having to like practice in secret and over various generations to avoid prosecution. So yeah, that is like, if this is like canon in some capacity, that would be kind of like a nice touch of like, we understand, therefore it's important to like learn about your background.
I guess Jeff could answer this better. I don't think it's like official canon or anything like that, but it seems like that informed the character of his parents, if I'm gleaning what Jeff was saying about the background correctly.
Yeah, because one of the criticisms I have going on about this particular episode regarding what came before it is that there's a great scene with Guinan and the family in which she mentions to them that what do you call it? That when he's looking out at the stars, he's not looking towards the Klingon Empire. He's looking towards you, and I'm just like, that doesn't line up with anything we've seen about Worf so far.
Yeah.
And that's a little frustrating to me. I do think that it informs him going forward because, let's face it, his character has not been heavily explored until now, really. So, like, his Earth family doesn't come up often, but this is the first time that we really get any detail about the fact that he was raised on Earth rather than raised in the Klingon Empire. So, yeah, they do use this going forward to inform how they're dealing with his character. I'd say it's a mixed bag over how well it's applied, but that's just because there is so much Worf content within Star Trek. So they can't always get it right.
Yeah.
Give me all the Worf content in Star Trek.
Well, it's because he's a major character in the sequel series to this as well.
Yeah. It's very interesting that Worf has become your favorite.
Yeah.
Like of all the characters, I wouldn't like I have nothing against Worf, but of all the characters, I would not have picked Worf to be your favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I landed on this, but because like Data was my favorite at the beginning, but I think there's just something about Worf, how he's got these little moments where, like,
It's because he's eaten so many good books lately.
I mean, yeah, I love books, and it's nice
And
to know
eating
that,
them.
you know, yeah, big book eater. And I don't know, I think there's just, like, he's set up to be, he has this whole thing of, like, you know, the Klingons are warriors. They have to be, like, you know, tough people. But then we get to see, like, Worf's vulnerabilities when they come up. Just, they don't come up, like, too often, but when they do, it just sort of, like, strikes a chord with me.
Yeah.
And also his reactions to things are just full out hilarious, though.
Oh
too.
yeah, because he always has that like frustrated like and like moves his head back and forth every time that he does it, and it's like, oh, Worf, these facial expressions you're doing right now are just bomb.
Michael Dorn is fucking hilarious. Like,
He is,
that's
he
the
is.
thing.
He's a
He
great
acts
actor.
Worf like so well.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just a combination of various things, and I just find him so endearing.
Honestly, like, your perspective on it has made me like Worf. Because before I was like, I loved all the episodes involving Klingons, but I wasn't too high on Worf. But I definitely have a much better appreciation for him now.
Yeah, I just find, I he just, like, does a lot of stupid shit, though, too. Like, I always think back to the Royale episode where he's trying to, like, open a door, like, he couldn't do it. And then, like, when he answered the phone, and I just I give a lot of credit, though, to, like, the actors who, like, for a lot of this stuff, because like the facial expressions, like, I think that's why I like Data a lot also. And Data sometimes, like, does these facial expressions that are just or like reactions that are just very funny to me. And I think that, like, Michael Dorn does so much with Worf, and Worf does not get a ton to do so far in
Very
like the
true,
3
yeah.
seasons I've seen him. But when he gets to, like, when there is Worf stuff, to me it really stands out, just because because he gets to be vulnerable at these times, and it's really just, it's really sweet. And you can see how hesitant he is to, like, share something with people, but then once he does, he gets, like, into it. Like the episode where the kid, again with the kid whose mom died, I can never remember that kid's name, but he was what's his face in Newsies, Spot Conlon in Newsies. And then, like, when he did the ceremony with him, like, he did not, like, have to do that with this kid, but he was like, I'm gonna show you this, and he was, like, excited about it. And yeah, and it's things that, like, a lot of people, like, don't understand, but they're like there's, in season 2, I think Dr. P does, like, the tea ceremony because she, like, thinks it'll be a nice thing to do with Worf, even though it was going to be, like, harmful to her. But he gets really into it. He gets all excited. And then when they do that other thing where he walks down that aisle and everybody beats him up.
Oh, yeah.
And he was, like, really happy with it afterwards. And everybody was like, I don't get it, but we're going to do it for you, Worf. And then he's just like, thank you. Like, he's just so into it. And it's adorable. And it's just, I just want to give Worf a hug, but he'd be like, no, don't hug me.
No thanks. Yeah.
He'd just be like, maybe like a handshake or like a wave. Like, I don't know.
It just, yeah, thinking about, like, as you were talking, I was kind of thinking about it, and I feel like Worf kind of, like, he feels more in the vein of, like, classical Greek heroes, where it's like, it's not, like, I don't feel like Worf suppresses his emotions, it's just, like, it's expressed in a different way. Because he's not afraid of emotion and feeling passion and, you know, feeling these things, but it's just, it's done in a certain way, you know?
Yeah.
Like, when you sort of, like, read Greek myths and stuff, like, fucking dudes were crying all over the place because, like, that was seen as, like, a very, like, noble thing because it meant, like, you fucking gave a shit, you know? It, like, and I just feel Worf is like that. It's like, you just feel his, like, his passion and desire to, like, do the right thing.
He feels a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And things are, like, important to him that, and just,
He's very sensitive in a way.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, God. He's just, I just find him to be a really interesting character. He's not, like, the kind, like, because there's a lot of people, like, other characters on TV that are, like, not super, like, that are kind of more similar to someone like Riker or even Picard to an extent. But like Worf to me is just like a whole different vibe of someone, and just it just feels like completely its own thing. He's just he's Worf.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like there's also that appeal of, like, big grumpy man with the softer side,
That's
Yeah.
true.
I think that's probably enough for Worf Corner.
There's never too much time for Worf Corner.
That's true.
There can never be enough Worf Corner.
Yeah.
But we can save more of Worf Corner for another day.
Yeah.
We don't have to fill the corner all at once.
No.
There'll be other times to visit
Yeah.
the Wharf Corner.
We'll have a Worf room.
Yes. Yes. A Worf warehouse.
Yeah.
Welcome to Worf Warehouse.
A Worf house. Sorry, that's so bad. All right, so with that, let's move on to favorite moments and things of that nature.
Everything with Worf's parents, but especially when they're like, listen, sorry if this is too human of us, but whatever you are suffering, you must remember we are with you, and we're proud of you, and that we love you, you are our son, and then they hold hands.
Yeah. Aww.
And that's really cute. Yeah.
I liked when Picard punched Renee.
Yeah, that was very
That's the
satisfying.
kid.
Oh my god!
Robert.
Sorry, Robert.
No, it was satisfying when he punched his nephew as well.
Well,
His nephew uncle.
yeah. Well, Renee is kind of annoying. I think they...
Yeah, he's looking the wrong way at the sky.
I mean, I don't think the kid was, like, that great, but they didn't give him great stuff to work with either.
No.
He said he wrote a paper about starships and got a ribbon. Who gives ribbons at school? Was that a thing at this point? Oh, I guess it's not, because this is the future.
Yeah.
Who gets ribbons?
Participation ribbon.
Congratulations, you went to school.
Well, I think the, like, some schools have, like, writing contests and, like, essay contests, so maybe that's what it was.
They do?
Yes.
Ew, what kind of public school did I go to?
Oh.
The only contest I can ever remember us having was it was in 1999 when it was like, hey, design a thing for like the Millennium Quarters.
Oh, yeah.
And so there was that contest. I totally thought that I had a chance of winning. So as a kid, I started collecting all those like quarters on the off chance one day I would just find the one I made, even though that's not how it works at all.
Yeah.
But I was young. I was a youth. I was a child.
Yeah, because they would have told you if your design.
Yeah, but I
quarter.
thought, like, what if it's just a surprise
Yeah.
and one day I find it? So that's actually how I started collecting quarters when I was a kid of, like, different designs. I still do that. Every time I see a quarter or loonie or toonie or whatever with some kind of design on it, I save it. With, like, over 60 bucks full of change.
Yeah.
Could have used towards something, but nope, it's gonna sit in a tin in my room.
Brief sidetrack corner, but the Canadian Mint is actually highly regarded around the world for its coins, like for its technology and its designs and stuff. And apparently,
I didn't know that.
Canadian silver coins are the silver and gold coins are like seen as like the like premium silver and gold coins to get, because I think they're the most pure and like just are like really high quality. Yeah. Yeah, so the
That's
Canadian
pretty cool.
Mint is actually like they're well known for having really good coins and stuff.
I actually have a coin. Because of that, when I was a kid, collecting the quarters and stuff, I actually collect coins, like from, I don't know. Well, I didn't really collect these. They were like my grandfather's, and when he passed away, he had like a coin collection. He never left North America, but he ended up with coins from all over the world. But he also had like coins, he had a coin. I think it was from a penny from 1912,
wow.
like a Canadian penny. Yeah,
Cool.
I have it somewhere here. There's also one from 1919.
Oh, neat.
And they're in pretty decent condition. I did look it up years ago what they were worth, and it was like $20. And I'm like, it's not a lot, but if you compare it to how much
for a penny, yeah.
that it's a penny. Yeah, that's pretty legit. I wouldn't sell it though,
I don't
because it
know
was my
if I have it
grandfather's. But...
somewhere or if my mom still has it, but we saved a $2 bill. I don't know if you remember the $2 bill.
Ooh.
My dad saved a couple of those, and it turns out that they are all currently worth $2, and I'm just like, great.
That's really funny.
Yeah. Oh, and the $1 bills that we used to have also are worth $1.
Yeah. Because saving those, it's like, it's less for, like, value and more for, like, nostalgia. It's like, oh, look, we used to have $2 bills.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dory, did you have any more favorites you wanted to get into?
Jack Crusher's hot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah. I like this whole episode in general. I like Picard's breakdown. I kind of in general liked like the way Patrick Stewart like acted Picard's kind of struggle throughout this episode. Really appreciate that. And like you, I fucking love all the stuff with Worf's parents.
Yeah. This was a fun episode. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. I don't know if I have like, I wouldn't say anything's like my favorite, but like, yeah, there was a lot of stuff that like stood out, and I enjoyed this episode overall. Even though, like, as Jeff has pointed out, it's not perfect, but yeah, I thought it was a really good follow-up to sort of deal with the aftermath of Best of Both Worlds.
Yeah, I think so too. It's more of like a coda to me, and I do appreciate that. However, I want to point out that there's a line that Picard gets earlier on in response to something that Troy says, and holy shit, I felt him in that moment, because he was talking about, I don't know, his problems with this, and Troy responds, "How does it make you feel?" And he's just like, "I hate it when you do that." And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you do. And you should, because it sucks.
Yeah.
I still think Picard should go to therapy.
Yeah, definitely. I think they implied he has been doing that, but like he thinks he's done with it, and I'm like, clearly you're not, dude.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, so we're moving on to predictions for the next episode. And again, I will let Jeff take this one.
Excellent. So the next episode is called Brothers. And in Brothers, Picard goes back to Earth to fight with his brother. Wait, no, sorry, that was this episode. Data receives a mysterious signal from a ghost of his past.
Is this still called Brothers?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you were joking for that too. Is it lore?
Can't tell you that. You're going to have to
Data.
tell us.
That's up to you to decide.
It's okay. If I'm on Ghost Kick. No, I'm kidding. Did Lore die? No, I don't even remember how it ended with Lore. I'm going to guess it's Lore.
He got thrown out into space.
Oh, okay. Lore's fine. Okay, so I'm going to guess that maybe there's something a little wonky with Lore and he needs help from Data to like fix it. I feel like I've given this prediction before, but for something else. But you know what? I'm going to keep, some of these are going to be repeats until I get it right.
That's all right.
Yeah,
Sound strategy.
I think it's Lore. So Lore reaches out to Data because he needs like help with something because he can't do it himself, and he knows that only Data can do it because the doctor's gone and he's the only one who could have done it in the past. So Data, obviously being the sweetheart he is like, well, I'll just be more on my guard with Lore, and maybe somebody like mark me with like permanent markers so we know I'm the real Data.
Just draw a little mustache on him.
Yeah, just do something so people know it's real Data. And he goes to help Lore. I think it's the return of Lore. Lore strikes back.
All right.
All right, then.
Yeah, well, if you'd like to see if it's another jerk brother, watch along with us and join us next time for the next episode of Fully Functional, a TNG podcast.
Goodbye.